Okay, so like we said before, we're gonna go ahead and do episode 4 and 5, all tonight, and we're gonna go ahead and continue with episode 5 here, a snake in the grass, and
Hmm.
this was this last week's episode. What did you think about this episode?
It was, there were several points where it kind of surprised me. And we'll get to that when we start talking about the episode. And I mean, there's a little bit of foreshadowing towards the beginning, but it's still, there was enough to leave doubt in what they were showing us,
Yeah,
I think.
yeah, it's very rare that you'll get another tribe in the before the credits start,
Hmm.
before the intro starts. But in this particular episode, we see Wu talking about how happy he is that he made it through the tribal council, and that we see Abby talking about how the decision was all up to her, and that she doesn't feel like people should owe her anything or anything. Which we already discussed that we don't. She really didn't have any decision. It was all up to Savage and Tasha, get letting her be excited about having that power.
Yeah, but something we didn't talk about in the last episode's recap is, did you think they go into the tribal council voting for Jeff, or do you think they went in gunning for Wu?
I think they went for Jeff. I think that was. I think they were gonna go for Jeff no matter what because of his foot.
Okay.
Because they would have.
Okay.
I think they would have been able to see how bad that is
Yeah.
at that time.
Hmm.
So yeah, so we get this little small piece of after tribal council, and really it's usually not this short because we right away we switch over to Bayon, and we see Kimmy and Monica out there gathering food, and they're going after these big old clams, and Monica right away says that we shouldn't be gathering these out. We should allow them so that they can so we don't run out of food later on. And Kimmy for once is not the is not the one that is saying no, we should not eat this. You know how she was the chickens in the in season
Oh
two.
yeah. Hmm.
So right away, this I thought this was weird when I saw this. It's not something that you usually see. Not It was really they really started foreshadowing right here.
Hmm.
So we see how Kimmy says that she is really trying to be patient with Monica, but she doesn't really want her to be in the game.
Right.
So right after that, and this is another one of those things that right after that they go to the reward challenge when they come back from the break. And you can you give us a rundown of this reward challenge?
All right. So, three members of the tribe will be tied together with ropes, and a fourth person will be sitting inside a barrel, and the three of them have to roll the fourth person down to three stations where they have to climb on top of the barrel, which is on a resting kind of thing, and then they have to grab these bags of balls um, off of each station. And once they get to the end, they have to roll these balls. Basically, it's skee ball into six targets.
Yeah, and yeah, so I put to a skee ball. And yeah, and then this, like I said, this is a reward. The first place team will have a comfort and padded seating. They have these. It looks like dishes. And was the dishes part of this, or was it from a previous reward?
Might be from previous war because what I have written down for the reward was like a shelter kit,
Yes,
uh,
and fruit and
plus
stuff.
refreshments.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah, and some food for the first place, and just the tarp for second place.
Yeah. So, like you said, we go ahead and start the the challenge, and we see that it's Monica that is doing it's in the barrel for Bayon.
Biome.
Um, Kelly is in there for Takeo, and it's Wu for Angkor. And right away, Bayon is not doing well. They're moving slow. They're moving kind of crazy. They don't really know how to move the barrel, and Monica
Yeah.
is going really really slow in untying the sacks that are the bags of that are tied up there.
The thing is, were you surprised at the members they chose to sit out for this challenge? Because Takeo was sitting out Cass and Terry, which means they would have to be in the immunity challenge, and Bayonne was sitting out Kelly and Steven, Wigglesworth and Fishback. Yeah,
Yeah,
and
it's
which were surprising choices for
you
me.
normally want your weaker people in the immunity challenge rather than in the. I'm sorry, in you want them to play in the reward challenge, not in the immunity challenge. So
Yeah.
you sit the strong people out for the immunity, and you play your weaker people in the reward. So yeah,
Yep.
I don't know. Um, I just know Bayon did really bad. They did really really
Oh
bad.
God, that was
Um,
horrible.
we get to the end really quick. Bayon is still trying to get over, and of course, since this challenge has to do with the skee ball and anything that Keith participates in that has to do with the metal balls, the wooden balls, he he dominates in
Balls.
those. Yeah, he dominates in those challenges. I remember Natalie from Someone to Sir saying that he was the master at balls. So he's able. I don't. I guess I don't know. He goes to these. He does this a lot. I guess he does skee ball a lot. I guess because he was able to do him, sink him pretty quick. Jeremy's having trouble with it, and Spencer fills in, tags him out, and then Wu's able to go ahead and get the second place win for Encore. Keith wins it for Take Hill, and Wu's happy. Says that second place is very much like first place to them because they haven't had much,
They'll take anything.
Yeah.
They'll take
so
anything.
so yeah, nothing. I don't think anything of value happened during that challenge other than us seeing how bad Monica was doing during that challenge.
Yeah, she just didn't know what to do with the rope and unspooling the rope, and she was taking forever.
Yeah, she was really
Forever.
slow,
Yeah,
and
so slow.
compared to Kelly and compared to Wu, who were able to unravel that rope pretty quick.
Yeah.
So after the challenge, we go to the beach with Takeo, and we have Keith, Joe, Cass, Kelly, and Sierra, and they're all talking about how they are a solid five. They're gonna go ahead and take with that, and Terry is really really in the outs here. I mean, not that they don't like him or anything like that, but he's not part of the main five. He is not part of that
Right.
main five. And they even say, I think they said, go, let's keep him happy, and there's no reason to to make him feel like he's an outsider. But of course, if they end up going to tribal council, he's going to be the first one out.
Yep.
And we see Keith really really says that he feels good because he last time around he didn't have that type of strategy going on, but now he's hooked up with someone who is strong, and really we can really see that the Bayon tribal lines are gone already because they've accepted some Takeo into it's only one, but still they're
Yeah.
already saying that they're willing to let go of the other Bayon members from the other tribe.
Uh, I think this was more of like a temporary arrangement. Just they're just securing 3 more days in case they go to tribal council. I think this is basically
Well,
all that's happening here.
well, remember this that they are mostly Bayon. So yeah, I really really do think I feel like it is more of a solid alliance more than just a temporary thing, only because it is Bayon heavy. They only do have one Takeo, which really really wouldn't be too bad to take in for your to further your own game, Um,
Hmm.
but I mean, you never know. I mean, it's Survivor. Stuff, all that stuff, just really can go down the drain pretty fast.
Hmm. Yeah.
So so we go back to Bayon, and we really see Jeremy and Spencer bromance continue. There, they are bonding even more every day, and they go out on this little boat thing. thing bowl. I call it a bowl. I don't know what it was. I hadn't seen it out there on the show. Have you seen that little boat thing?
No.
This is the first time they take it out, right?
Yeah.
I guess this is part of the things. I don't think they won this. I don't think this was part of the stuff that they won previously. But yeah, they have this little, looks like a bowl that they get in, and Spencer and Jeremy go out, and Spencer really talks about how he's never felt like being like one of the men's men, because he that go out fishing, that go out and doing things on Survivor. He's always been more of the outsider, but now he's happy that he's able to do this fishing, just like the old Survivor legends, like Ozzy, and I think he mentioned someone else, but and Joe. He even mentions Joe. That's only one season in, but still, he really is in awe that he's able to do this. That's really what we see of Bayon. That's all we pretty much see of Bayon at that point. We go back to we're gonna go ahead and like say Angkor. They're happy that they won the second place, because it is their like a first place to them. And Wu tells a story about how his mother had a heart transplant, and how they were really waiting for that to happen. When I believe it was during San Juan del Sur, I believe, is when when she was able to get her heart transplant. And everybody's really into the story. Everybody is really feeling for Wu, and Abby has to go and mess it up.
Yeah.
She right away has to throw no matter what story anyone does, or no matter what does, she always has to throw in her two little cents, and it really makes her look bad. She talks to Tasha about it. Tasha kind of plays it off, but you can tell that it bothered her that Abby was really throwing this story that Wu was telling them as if it was just for sympathy. I mean, you never know. I don't think Wu is one of those players that would use this kind of story for sympathy. And that's because I'm not a big Wu fan, but I don't really see him using that kind of story to try and persuade anybody.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then she starts saying, "Well, I lost members myself, so I start telling those stories." But then she throws in her knee, what is it that she says she had, the ligament, that she has someone else's body part in her as well, that she use that for sympathy as well. And I don't know, it really just upsets me more and more each time we see her more in the show. But we'll go ahead and just leave it there. Abby show there. Don't want to talk too much more about her. We go ahead and go to the immunity challenge already. And can you explain this immunity challenge for us?
It's basically a slingshot target relay race.
Yeah, which was first seen in Worlds Apart. Mm-hmm. And now, have you noticed that the people who are playing their second chance challenges, they're not sitting out? Do you think that they have made this a stipulation that they have to play if it's their second chance, or do you think it's just coincidence that they're not sitting out?
I think it's just coincidence that they're not sitting out. I don't think production can legally like tell them to, oh, you cannot sit this person out in this challenge, blah 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 blah.
Well, yeah. You never know, because there has been some stories back in the first couple of seasons of Survivor, and even not too far. I think even we'll get to this part later on, where they say that production really was the one that was pushing them to go one way or another. I really don't buy that case, but you never know. But Joe was the one that was in this challenge previously, and they lost in Worlds Apart, so he's gonna get a chance for redemption. So yeah, they race through the tower, they race through obstacles to get to these sandbags and slingshot at the targets, and each time they hit the target, the flag will raise, and we see Bayon and Angkor take the lead, and what actually they're pretty tied, pretty much tied at the very beginning, when we see.
Owen was a little bit behind, Anchor and Takeo, and then something really surprising happened. Steven Fishbach went up to the top of the tower, aimed a slingshot, let go, and it hit a target on Angkor.
Yeah, I think what happens is because if you see people were holding the bag in with their left hand and then pulling it back with the right hand. I think he let
Yeah.
go of his left hand way too early, and it kind of just
Mm.
let slunk through the bag in the opposite direction that he wanted to.
Yeah.
But I remember on Twitter he was like, people were like giving him giving him hell for this, and he was like, well, the surprising part is that Jeff told us that there was no way we could hit other people's targets, and I goes, I can do anything. And then
No,
on
but
the
then you see during the challenge footage that there were other people on other tribes that
yeah.
almost did the same thing.
Yeah, yeah, he wasn't the only one. He was just the only one that connected, as far as we know, and
Exactly.
yeah, and it counts. I mean, there's other challenges where you hit someone else's targets and it counts towards you or against you. You know, so I mean, what are they gonna do? They're not gonna reset the whole course again for them to try it
No, they
again.
can't.
And
Yeah.
and I mean, Jeff doesn't is not one to let other these type of mistakes go. So as Steven is leaving now, he's like, the only thing he's able to do is score one for Encore, and Steven's like, yeah, yeah, well, you're welcome, whatever. And so yeah, with that score, that really helped Encore win this, and they win first place in this particular challenge, followed by
Yeah, and,
Takeo.
and Wu pretty much carried that challenge for Angkor. And they each tribe had that one person that
Hmm.
was their main target hitter, and because they had to switch every time somebody takes a shot, and they were basically going back every other person.
Yeah, they had to at least go and throw and do at least one shot, right? And then they can
Before
switch
you
out.
swap out.
Yeah,
Hmm.
and
And
once they hit, they had to swap out.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, you have the option to swap out after taking one shot, but once you hit, you have to swap out. And so Joe was Takeo's main target person, and I think Bayonne basically put their money on Spencer.
hmm,
Yeah, which would have been good had their other people not sucked as much.
yeah, yeah. Because I think Bayon was one of those people that had people's bags going the other way as well,
And Bayonne had to sit out Jeremy for this challenge. I
because
mean, what the hell?
they decided to play him in the reward challenge. So now he had to
I
sit
mean,
down.
I mean, they had other options to sit out other than Jeremy. They could have sat out. Oh shit, Kimmy. No, they could have sat out Kimmy and
Well, Monica sat out, so
Kimmy and Monica. Yeah, they could have sat out Kimmy and Monica instead, and Jeremy could have been a part of that challenge. And Jeremy's a strong guy, and he can
yeah,
pull that slingshot pretty far back. And I'm surprised he's sitting out.
yeah. It makes sense, but you know, this is where more conspiracy stuff comes out along, because on Twitter people were saying that they threw the challenge, and they were saying that Jeremy said that he kind of confirmed this, but I was thinking more of what Monica said at the end of the episode, at the end of the challenge. And Monica was like, "Well, maybe it's not too bad to go to tribal council, because they really need to get rid of somebody." And I think Jeremy was really just more echoing that what she said, because it was really a foreshadow of what it was going to happen. Not only have we seen throughout the whole episode stuff with her and Kimmy, but now we see this where she's like, it might not be bad, you know. And they go back to camp, and right away, they start talking to see. Jeremy talks to Fishback about who they believe is more trustworthy, whether it be Kelly or whether it be Spencer, and both Fishback and Monica say that they would vote out Kelly. What does he say? Gun to your head. Who would you get vote out?
Yeah.
And both of them say Kelly, and Kimmy is on board with this. Kimmy's already going like, okay, cool. Well, let's get Kelly out.
Yeah,
And
because Spencer is a better challenge asset than Kelly,
yeah,
to be honest. Yeah.
and here comes back what we talked about in the previous episode. Monica once again brings up the whole thing about
Women's
keeping Kelly
Alliance.
to keep
Yeah.
her for women's alliance to keep the women's numbers up, and Kimmy really is says that she's worried about Monica. Monica is going to be one of the people to switch if she needs to,
Yeah.
and she wants to
Yeah.
keep beyond strong. But
Kimmy was having none of it.
yeah,
I think she just didn't want anything to do with this women's alliance. But I mean, she didn't have to react so violently towards it. It's another out for her. In case something else happens, in case some other kind of tribal shuffle happens. I mean, that might be an option in the back of her head. She didn't have to go freaking, yeah.
yeah, because she right
Really
away
pull up.
informs the tribe.
Yeah, she immediately went back to the boys and be like, guys, you know what? Monica's planning a women's alliance, blah, 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 blah. And then the guys freaked out and like, oh, no, 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 this is not happening. And
Yeah,
and then we might have to reevaluate this situation here, blah, 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 blah.
and
And
but we see Jeremy right away get is on board right away with getting rid of Monica, while Steven is more worried about pissing off the old Bayon tribe.
yeah,
And it's and Spencer and Kelly, they're really trying their best for them to stay. Both of them are scared that the vote's gonna go towards them.
yeah, they don't even know the drama that's going
Yeah,
on
they
with
don't.
the old Ion.
Yeah, and Monica is not worried about anything changing. She says that it's a lock in, and this is already at the tribal council already.
Yeah.
Um, Jeff asks Monica, "Is this a lock in?" And she's like, "Yeah, I don't worry. I'm not having no worries about what's going on." Anything in particular about the tribal council that you can think of?
I mean, I'm just, yeah, poor Monica. I mean, she did not have to be the victim in this, and yeah, and to be blindsided by people from your own tribe, it's kind of. I mean, I can see what Steven's worried about. Then but also he didn't want to go against Jeremy and Kimmy
Yeah,
as well, and so he kind of had to do that. But I mean, I can see why Steven is worried about the butterfly effects from this going forward.
yeah. Now,
Mm.
what I noted is that Spencer and Monica are both surprised what was going on. And I don't know if Kelly was doing a poker face or anything like that, but she didn't seem too phased at the Monica votes. So I don't know if maybe they told her something right beforehand or anything like that, but she didn't seem too surprised. Of course, she still voted for Spencer
It
because,
might just be the Botox.
yeah, maybe. But of course, they voted for each other because that's what you have to do to try to keep yourself in the game.
Yeah,
Is
Kelly was never too much for facial expressions, anyways, and she's been pretty poker face this entire season, so she wasn't gonna react to anything.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, but Spencer looked puzzled. Monica, of course, was blindsided. She did the woo face. Um,
completely shocked. All Jeremy, Kimmy, and Steven, they all voted for her, and it's an interesting 3-2-1 split just because of how the votes went. And yeah,
did you
it's really.
notice? Did you notice Steven's face? He looked happy to be playing.
Yeah, I mean they couldn't, the old Bayonne couldn't let Kelly or Spencer in on the secret because they would try to because they know they would go to Monica and try to grab her and try to blindside one of them,
Yeah.
and so they had to keep it a secret through tribal council. Otherwise, they wouldn't get what they want.
Oh, okay. So yeah, Monica is voted out. She is our fifth person out of the game. I wanted to go ahead and talk about the previews we see for this week's episode. Um, it looked by the previews that it was going to be a medevac or someone leaving the game.
It looks
And
like somebody's going to leave the game. We heard rumors of who that is going to be, and if that does happen, I'm kind of sad because this person's really been playing a pretty good game thus far, and to be to be taken out at a moment like this,
Yeah.
it's pretty devastating.
I did see CBS tweet that it is a family emergency that makes somebody leave the game.
Yeah, and
And I didn't
should be
want to
pretty
look to
clear.
see. I didn't want to see who it was. That leaving the game, I wanted to be surprised for when I watched the episode.
Yeah,
But
I
I'm
but you've heard stuff.
I've tried to keep away from anything like that. I actually haven't gone into to read it. I've on the internet. I've turned off the got out of the page too. I went. The only one person that I am scared of it for because of who what it can be about is hopefully it's not Jeremy. Only because I know his wife is pregnant, so I really do hope it's not him. And do not tell me what you've
I
heard.
mean, maybe he wants to be there for the birth of their child, but I mean, flying from Cambodia to all the way back to the U.S. for a baby birth, he wasn't gonna make it.
Yeah, well,
I think he had made mental
commitment.
preparations for that.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's already prepped to have that happen before he went into the season. So I'm not gonna say anything because it seems like you don't know. So I mean
yeah.
I've
I
heard
don't
stuff
know.
from other podcasts. So
I've limited myself to not going into it because I wanna that particular thing. Other things, I do know something that's gonna happen in the next episode because CBS let us know by tweeting it out. Do you know what's going on in the next episode other than this emergency?
I don't remember much from it.
Do you want me to tell you?
Okay, let me have it.
It's another tribal switch.
I
So
would say so they're basically going from 3 to 2.
yeah, they're going back. They're contracting again, which
Makes sense.
if it is after the emergency, would leave them at an even number. It would leave them at 14 people left, seven on each side of the tribes. If it's
Which is
before,
yeah.
I think it's gonna be that. I think it's gonna be that the evacuation, I think, speeds up the tribal switch.
Yeah, and I think there's still going to be a tribal council at the end of the next episode, just
Yeah.
because we started with 20. So
Yeah, whenever there's the 20 people, there's at least one double eviction episode.
yep,
Okay,
yeah.
so do you
What do you think
wanna?
they're going to do with the beaches? Um,
I really hope they don't go back to Angkor.
they have to though.
You think?
Ah,
Well, they have Bayon and Take KO that are still pretty
the
strong there.
the thing is, people already found the clues from Bayonne and Takeo.
True.
There's still
They can do the whole
an
one world
immunity.
thing.
Yeah, they still have an idol clue out there for Angkor, I think maybe. But if they're going back from 3 to 2 and Angkor never found their clue to the idol, maybe they'll just go back to 2 idols. What do
Well,
you
I don't
think?
know. I mean, they might. I don't know. Because we
Or
saw this happen.
is Angkor in such a bad shape that they just want to abandon Angkor altogether?
Well, I remember last year last season they Blue Tribe, which is what was her name, the blue collar tribe, Skameka. They didn't even look for their idol as far as we know until after the merge or the tribal swap, and it really all decided no, it was after the merge because they moved everybody to that particular beach
Yeah,
to so that they wouldn't have to go out there and hide another idol, pretty
but
much.
there in that season they had a physical idol at the beach, but in this case where they just had clues to
That's true.
idols that were going to appear in the challenge,
Yeah,
I don't know if they're going to keep Angkor just to have a third clue out there.
true. That's true. They can leave that clue out there in the middle of any beach anyway. So
Yeah.
okay, yeah. Do you want to go ahead and update us on how we're doing? What I'll do is that since we didn't have a show last week, you weren't able to replace Jeff. I won't replace Monica this time around.
Okay,
So
fine.
that so it can be a little bit more fair. Where are we?
Okay.
Where do we stand on our fantasy points?
Right now, you are ahead with 68, and I am slightly behind with 47.
Well, I
You
don't
have the
know.
idle people. You have the
Yeah.
idle people on the tribe. Oh my God. Seriously,
So
that's not.
yeah, I won't replace Monica. You can replace Jeff with somebody there.
God, who else do I have? I can put in Keith. Keith? I guess I'll put in Keith.
Okay.
Oh God, it's so horrible saying this.
Well, as long as they keep getting more ball challenges, you'll be okay.
But I think Wu has a good shot at it as well to go far. If not, if he, I mean, even if he doesn't do anything else, I think he'll survive long enough. I will go with Wu.
Okay. All right.
And who do we think is going to be eliminated next episode?
Um,
Uh,
I will no longer choose Abby Maria. I think she is. I think she is somebody who everyone's gonna just try to take to the end as much as they can,
yeah,
and
she is
even though I don't want
the,
it to happen,
the
but
goat,
yeah.
the the goat extraordinaire.
I will choose. Jeez, I don't even know who to choose now. I'm gonna go with Wigglesworth.
Wigglesworth.
I'll go with
Ooh.
Wigglesworth. I think I want to say Terry, but Terry, I don't want Terry to leave, so I'd rather Wigglesworth go.
I don't think Terry's gonna get voted out. Honestly, if they, I mean, if all Takeo people were able to hook back up in the next tribal swap, I think Terry might be in a good place. And I'm gonna say I am. F it, I'll take Abby Maria. God damn it.
All right.
Because now we've got, Tasha gunning for her, and people already saw how kind of unstable Abby Maria is, and you know nobody's gonna be like willingly working with her.
Yeah. Well, Tasha said that she doesn't want to vote out Abby Maria, but for her sanity, she might have to.
I mean, if Angkor lost this immunity challenge, I think Abby Maria would have been the one going out.
Yeah.
I mean, they had to. They had to.
For strength.
Yeah. And we're still in the tribal phase because we're swapping into two tribes, maybe, or maybe merging into one. Is that too crazy?
I think there's. Well, I don't know.
Did you
With
see
14 people left.
Did you see two buffs?
I don't know. I didn't see any buffs. I just saw what they said. They just said a tribal switch.
Ah,
They said tribal
tribal
switch. So I don't know.
switch.
Yeah.
So maybe it's two tribes.
I
Or
think
still
there.
three tribes.
I think two more people before any type of merge.
Merge.
At
Yeah.
least two more people.
Okay. So if we're still in the tribal phase, Abby Maria is still a liability in challenges, and if they lose, they just have to get rid of Abby Maria because everybody's gonna be playing. The entire tribe has to play.
Yeah. Okay, so we've I'm gonna go with Wigglesworth. I'm just trying to lob one out there. Um, Mark is choosing Abby Maria to get voted out next week, and we still haven't chosen one, a correct one. But
No.
that's why we like Survivor, right?
Yeah, it's always unexpected.
So, any closing thoughts over the last 2 weeks here?
Uh, it's still as unpredictable as ever. Because Monica would have been my first choice as a person getting voted out this episode, and so it's interesting. And as Jeff said before the season started, they're just gonna try to keep them on their toes and try to switch things up all the time. And this is gonna be really interesting to see how this next tribal arrangement is gonna go.
And that's the great thing about the whole returning players seasons is that you never know what's gonna happen.
Exactly.
The players already know each other. It's not something they're not going to just lay over for someone to take advantage of them. They know what each other's going to do. So that's why I'm loving this season so much.
Yeah.
All right, so we will go ahead and leave it there. We will go ahead and see you guys next week. My name is Saul. Once again, you can catch me at Perspective on Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, and YouTube. And Mark, where can they find you?
You can all find me on Twitter at MarcoPolo310.
Remember to tweet at us using. We have a new shorter hashtag LC Survivor, and Let's Chat Live. So it's scrolling on the top here, and then we'll put it in the description as well, for you guys to let us know what you guys think. Are we correct? Are we wrong? Are we dumb? Are we smart? Tell us what we think. What you guys think. All right, guys. Well, we'll go ahead and see you guys next week or in the next episode of Let's Chat Survivor.
All right, got nothing for you. Go back to camp.
Laters.